It's Friday then. What a terrible voice I have. Good morning. Friday. How's everyone doing? Top of the morning. Make sure everything's set up here. Think we're good. Starbucks, yeah, I went ahead and I got some Starbucks today. First time in a long time. I got up a little bit early, so went ahead and got a little Starbucks. I don't typically pay for coffee, but today it felt like it was a good day. It's gonna be a good day. New camera, no. It's a little bit brighter today, though. I can see. I look a little bit more white. I need to go get a tan, maybe. Eagles. I don't really like grinding MW. Yeah, Jay Price, me too, man. How many gold do you have? I got 4 gold right now. I'm not typically a conspiracy theorist. It's something I'm very against because I think it's a little bit ridiculous to think like that. But I think that the NFL rigs games. That might be the closest conspiracy that I believe. For a moment last night, I thought the Eagles were going to lose that game, which would be like the classic NFL rig. The way the game started, I was like, oh, here it is. It's starting again. But obviously the Eagles, yeah, they won. That's too much of a rig for the NFL. It'd be too obvious, maybe. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, interesting trading day for me yesterday. We can talk a little bit about that while people start to step in here. Yesterday was a grind. If you guys were on the chat, if you're in the Discord, you hear it live. I started the day with some losers. Was messy. Only in the primetime games, Chewy, right? Those Thursday games are always so strange. They're always so bizarre. I started the day with some losers, and I was getting frustrated again because Monday and Tuesday were tough. I had a nice Wednesday. I did have a nice yesterday after I stuck to it. But the market was still not that clean yesterday. It was still relatively, it wasn't A+ action, as Matt Diamond tweeted. I agreed with him on that. So I got a little bit chopped up in the morning, and I just had to stick with it. I had to continue to trade my strategy. I made a video about it yesterday. I felt like it was a good topic. So you can watch that video from yesterday that I posted. But this whole week hasn't been the best week. It makes sense though. When you look at the NASDAQ, when you look at a stock like Nvidia, like this is Nvidia over the last week, right? See, this is the last week from Monday to Friday. Look at what Nvidia's done. It's gone completely sideways, right? A lot of stocks just, not all of them, but a good amount of stocks are just not making significant moves, which sometimes is a little bit difficult, right? You really got to be on your game. You got to be on your A game, and defense. Being defensive. So yeah, that's natural. Yeah, of course it's natural, Kate. Absolutely, and that's why I wanted to make that video because it's gonna happen, and we can't lose our confidence. We can't lose our desire to succeed. Even though, sometimes things are a little bit more difficult than you'd like. Of course, I'd love to have, straight up, straight down on a daily basis. If we could just go straight up and straight down on a daily basis, we would all be very rich. But sometimes it's a little bit difficult. So that's that. That was my day yesterday, just keeping it real. I like to keep it real. I like to be able to come here and talk about the honest truth, to get things off my chest, right? I don't want to hide things and not be able to talk about my days. It makes it much easier It's much easier to make content. It's much easier to talk to you guys on the live streams if we're just open and we just share our experiences. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I think people would rather listen to someone that they can relate to than someone that just pretends to, be the best. So I hope you guys are here for that reason. So, all right, let's get started. So today is Friday. We have a lot of economic data. We have pretty important economic data. This is definitely like the most important probably data that we could have this week, right? That this is like the unemployment rate. We have non-farm payrolls. This is when keeping it real goes wrong. I don't know. Is what I'm saying wrong? This is very important economic data, right? For sure. So we definitely want to watch this. We will have that live. It will be here in about 24 minutes, and we'll see how that makes the market react. All right, remember, for the most part, as I've seen it lately, if we get a hot jobs market, if numbers are higher, right, if unemployment is lower, right, if more people are working, if unemployment is lower, that would be a bearish thing, right? That's what we've seen on the market. If unemployment is lower, then that is bearish for this market. At least that's what we've seen lately. We'll have to see how the reaction is here today. Non-farm payrolls, if the non-farm payrolls are higher, that would be a bearish thing, right? You want to see those come down. That's just what the market has how the market has taken it, right? Are you still happy with Interactive Brokers? And what is the name of the software platform used to analyze your daily performance? I want to set those up for myself. Lucas, thank you for the $9.99. Lucas, yes, I love Interactive Brokers for options trading. That is my. I don't have any. I have no reasons to change Interactive Brokers for the options trading side. The order fills are fantastic. That's really what's most important to me is order fills. So yes, I do like that. For analyzing for journaling my trades, it's TradeZella. 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 All right. So let's see how this economic data comes in. Let's get over to the schedule. Welcome again, guys. Thank you for being here. This is the 4th of November. It's crazy, man. It's already the 4th of November. I mean, we have a month, like 2 months till the end of the year. Just wild. So Google under 85, that's a big level, right? 85 was that level we talked about on the live stream yesterday, and we are under that level. That is pretty important. That's 2019 levels, I believe. 2020 levels. This is a big break. I want you guys to be paying attention to this. Something I'll be watching today. NVIDIA holding 134. NVIDIA continues to hold this previous rejection point as support at 134. And I'll show you guys what this looked like intraday yesterday. 134 was a very influential level. Tesla chop. Tesla's been a mess. Tesla's been inside and outside of this channel. It's just coming up and down. It's just not making much of a move. It's chopping. It's a little bit interesting as of late. You have some days it outperforms, some days it underperforms. It's very difficult to get a read on Tesla recently, so I wanted to sort of point that out. Apple 138 demand. Apple filled a gap last night. It found some downside in the after hours, which filled a gap to the downside, and I want to go ahead and show you guys that demand that stepped in. Netflix has sort of double bottomed at this 269, which creates a pretty interesting level to watch. So I want to show you that. XLE has found some strength this morning, and I want to show you guys the $90 level that the energy sector is holding. And then Target, interesting enough, I still look at some names. If I find something I like, I'll point it out. Target has a nice 157 level that I want to point out to you guys today. All right, and then obviously we'll sort of go around, see if sort of flip through some other tickers, and we'll go over the tickers that you guys want to look at the end of the stream. Yes, I use Trade of 8 for futures, yes. Yeah, guys, TOS is I want to see people get out of TOS for order fills. It's by far I love Thinkorswim. I couldn't Thinkorswim is my life. Without Thinkorswim, I don't know what I would do. It's like I know Thinkorswim more than I know anything else. But their order fills are just absurd. I mean, when you press the buy button on Thinkorswim, you don't know whether you're gonna get filled. It's like a okay, I'm gonna try to buy it and we'll see what happens. And that type of unexpected, not sure whether you're gonna get in or not, when you're gonna get in, how much lag is gonna happen before you get your order filled. I can't deal with that. When you're trading with, if you're gonna start trading with significant money, if a 50-cent slip on a contract is like $1,000 for you, that's just something you can't deal with. So I love Thinkorswim for charting. It's the best charting platform without a doubt, hands down. I've not seen a single charting platform that I would ever change to. But for order fills, my God, it's not good, at least in my opinion. All right, let's get started. So, economic calendar. Here's today, right? Friday. Ooh, that's zoomed in, but that's all right. It's good. Non-farm payrolls. That's at 8:30 today. It's about 20 minutes. Unemployment rate, average hourly earnings, labor force participation. This is very important. The Fed will this will be very important for the Federal Reserve decisions, right? This is the jobs information that they are talking about. They need to see some of the job markets slow down. The job market's still very hot. We've seen that over the last week. We've seen the ADP employment report that came in very high, right? 239 versus 195. We saw the job openings come in at 10.7 versus 9.8. So we need to see some of that. We'll have to see how this sort of, either adds fuel to the fire or maybe change the rhetoric. So we'll see today, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings. Let's see how the market reacts to that. That's very important. On the earnings side of things, we had a few earnings last night. Nothing that I am really that interested in, to be quite honest, guys. I don't think it's really market moving in any regard. I mean, if you want to watch these stocks in specific, you can. But I just don't know if this is even like sort of what the market cares about at this point. It's more about this economic data. So we had PayPal last night. We had Coinbase. We had Square or Block, whatever you want to call it. Twilio, Carvana, Starbucks. This morning we had Fubo, DraftKings, and that's really about it. So some earnings here. I don't think that's really the most important, right? If PayPal went up on earnings last night, which I don't even know if it did, but if it did, let's say whatever stock we're looking at, if it was up on earnings or down on earnings, if the economic data comes ugly and the market moves lower, it's not going to matter, right? If PayPal's up on earnings right now and the market tanks because of the data today, it makes no difference. It's going to come down with the market. So I'm really not that focused on the earnings reports. The market, I think, will be more interested in these macroeconomic news this morning. I think that will take the weight of the market today. So definitely watching that in about 15 minutes. All right, let's continue. NASDAQ. So NASDAQ yesterday was pretty textbook rejection. Actually, the ES was a little bit cleaner, but here we go. So here's the NASDAQ. The most important level that we saw come in yesterday was here at 10.7. 10.7 was that level that we talked about, right? That we could see that downside come into, right? 10.7 right here. You can see that rejection or that support right here, right? 10.7. We came back down to it. That's where we held, right? Very nice hold at 10.7. And we can see we found a little bit of upside off that level this pre-market. Now, this pre-market push is not something you get bullish about, right? You are still not over yesterday's highs. You are still not over Wednesday's lows. You are still not over Wednesday's rejection point. You are still not even close to where you need to be to consider this push any type of bullish. So Be careful on this little push. This could be totally fake, depending on what we see here in 15 minutes on the economic side. But we have a little bit of life off that 10.7. Am I going to start buying calls off that? Absolutely not. You have a little bit of life off 10.7. This could be very fake. This could be something that you do not want to get caught into. So we can see a little push here, 10.7. You can see a little bit of life coming in. But the things you need to break here are first 10.9. This is very important, and I'll show you why. When we go to the ES, you'll see why this 10.9 is important. And then 11,000 is your next level to the upside. I would not be bullish or even look for a continuation move until if you get a move over 11,000. This is the only time that you see something strong here, is a push over 11,000. Anything under 11,000, I believe, has total opportunity to reject, right? Anything under 11,000, I think, could totally reject on any push. It's still, these are lower highs, lower lows. Market is, broke the longer term uptrend, right? You lost that momentum. You had some momentum here in the short term to the upside over the last few weeks. You lost it, right, on this break of FOMC. I just don't see that bullish momentum stepping in as of now. We'll have to see how the economic calendar, if that economic news changes anything today. But when I look at this in the short term, you can clearly see we rejected this 11,000 on Wednesday. Pre-market, we pushed higher Thursday pre-market, rejected it. We pushed higher intraday yesterday. Could barely even get to Wednesday's lows. We rejected here, and we're just sort of chilling in this 10.7 to 10.9 level. So we're in a 200-point range. Let's see how this macroeconomic data affects the market, and then we'll try to make a decision here. But right now, 200-point range, a little bit of a bounce off that 10.7. If you break the 10.7, then you know where we're headed, right? You break this 10.7, if you turn it into a rejection, you know where we're headed. All right? ES is a little bit cleaner here, and I'll show you why. Here's ES, and you guys can see, if we go to the 15-minute, maybe it's even nicer to see. Yeah, so here's the 15-minute. You guys can see it here. So you can see you had the previous support that turned into the perfect rejection right here. Very clean. You know what? Let's go 30. I want to zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see this. I know it might be a little bit small on your end. So, support, right? 37.80. You break it, you push back up, you reject it. Perfect downside move, right? If you shorted there in the futures market, or if you just got an entry towards here to the downside, absolutely gorgeous. Perfect retest rejection here of 37.80. You moved lower. Now, here's what's important happened yesterday. I posted this on my Twitter. When you moved down, what did you do? You came back and you retested the previous lows, right? When you retested those previous lows yesterday on ES, what did it do? Right? It rejected the previous lows. This is Wednesday's after hours lows. You pushed up into it intraday yesterday. Go to the 5-minute. Here's the 5-minute chart. Look at that rejection that came in right there at the Wednesday's after hours lows. Wednesday after hours lows, break down, push back into it. Absolutely fantastic rejection. I mean, just textbook. It doesn't get much cleaner than this, guys. So really nice rejection. We were talking about this sort of bear flag that was forming late day. You can see right there, really clean little bear flag that was forming late day yesterday. You got your end of day slip. And then today, where do we find ourselves, right? We find ourselves at the exact same level. So this is going to be interesting, right? You are at the exact same level of yesterday's rejection points and Wednesday's after hours lows. Does this reject again, right? Does this give us another downside play? Or does the economic data push this thing through 37.60, 37.50? If it does push us higher, then watch out for 37.80. That's your next rejection point, all right? So 37.55, 37.60, all in this range here. If you get through it, 37.80. If you do not get through this and the economic data brings us lower, then I could definitely see a nice little slippage here. Is this a little trend that we got going on here since the morning? Yeah. So if you see this sort of break down, right? If you see something like this and this breaks, right, you definitely want to see how that price action comes in. If it comes in aggressive, there might be some nice slippage here. So 37.60, 37.55. This is your very key level here this morning as we get this economic data. You can clearly see it here on the chart. All right, keep that on your charts today. This area right here. Hold on a second. Check in on my okay. All right. So that's that. Let's go to the Dow. The Dow, pretty much the same thing, it seems like. Let me zoom out here. What are we looking at on the Dow? It looks like it's just this high right in this general area here. What is this? 32,250? Right here around this is Thursday's pre-market highs. 32,250 here. That's what I would watch. You can see rejections here, a little bit of rejections here. Actually, this was lower intraday yesterday, and then you're starting to get the rejections here this morning. 32,250 on the Dow, watch that. If you do move to the downside, watch the lows from yesterday, 31,9. So 32,250, 31.9. See how it trades within this channel, but watch out for this rejection on the Dow up top here. Is the ES at the 20 SMA? Yeah, I took that 20 SMA off for the NASDAQ because it wasn't really relevant. Okay, yeah, here's your 20 SMA on the ES. You can see it's sitting right there. Russell. So the Russell is holding that retest level, right? Remember we talked about this retest level? It's actually a pretty nice hold, I'm not going to lie. It's pretty clean, right? Let's see if it wants to continue. But that's a pretty clean retest level on the Russell. You guys can see. Let me go ahead and take off these. I'm going to take off the 200, and I'll take off the, I'll just leave it there. I mean, you got the 50 SMA, the 20 SMA sort of sitting right there as potential support on the Russell. You got the 100 SMA above as a potential rejection point. So that's the 100 SMA on the daily. That's the 50. The yellow line is the 50, and the blue line is the 20. So you have your SMAs sort of sitting all right here on the Russell. But the most important thing, in my opinion, irregardless of the SMAs, is this retest. Right? You can see right here. It's holding pretty nicely. You can see there and there. Nice little hold of the previous rejection point. Previous rejection point on Russell, break it, retest it, you're holding it. So if the Russell can hold above this 1780, right, maybe it can build off this. But you're going to have to see how that economic data comes out today. All right, guys, so that's a preliminary look at the future side. But let's see how this looks in about 7 minutes, because that's going to be more important. My overall thesis is that, if we ignore economic data, things are still looking weak here in the short term. Lower lows, lower highs, but we'll see how that economic data changes things. Google 85. Remember that level we talked about here? This is going to be, I think, a very important level. So 85 is the lows of this consolidation range. Remember we talked about this back? This is back from 2020. We had 85 as our lows. So 85, if we sort of drag that across the board and we look at what happened yesterday, look at what happened after Google lost 85 yesterday. So we tried to hold 85 here. We lost it, turned it into a rejection, and then slipped the remainder of the day. So today we are trading below that previous channel support, and that is on a weekly chart. That's very, very big. So today, what am I looking for? I am looking to see whether Google tries to break 85 again and tries to reject it. All right, does Google push up into 85? Does it retest that 85 level? Does it start to show weakness? If it does, I'll look to potentially play puts off 85 for another slip to the downside. All right, that's something I'll be watching, but I'll also watch the flip side, right? If the market's strong, if we get upside on this market, then I would look to see, does Google get back over 85? Does it try to turn it into a support level? And if it does, can I play some kind of flag or something off this, to the upside, right? That's something I'll be watching as well. So 85 is going to be my level to watch on Google today. This is a very important level, in my opinion, and I would look to see if it can either reject it or find support off 85, of course, depending on the market direction here after the economic news. NVIDIA 134, guys. I'm sure you've heard me say this level 1,000 times, but it is because it's a very important level. You can see 134 here, previous rejections, some rejections there, and then if we go to the short term on the hourly, let me get a little bit more time here. If we go to the short term on the hourly, we can see the rejection at 134. You can see the support that stepped in, the support that stepped in, and then if we go to the 5-minute chart yesterday, look at this day yesterday. Very interesting. NVIDIA popped over 134. It came back, and it just sort of consolidated right above that level all day, right? All day, right? Support, support, support. So this is interesting to me, right? NVIDIA is showing a little bit of relative outperformance here, especially yesterday. Big pop in the morning, right? And then consolidation. Even when the NASDAQ sort of gave up its late day move, right? The NASDAQ closed at the lows pretty much yesterday and sort of slipped even in the after hours. And look at what NVIDIA did, right? NVIDIA held up. It held up from the open or from pre-market levels, it held up about a 4% move yesterday. So that's that's something to pay attention to. This reminds me of, if you guys know who Rake Trades is, I'm sure you do on Twitter, Instagram. He's a pretty big trader. He trades relative outperformance, and this would be, I think, a perfect example for him for relative outperformance. So this is definitely relative outperformance on NVIDIA. Chip stocks have been sort of hot, so I'm going to watch this today, right? If there's upside in the market, I'm definitely interested in NVIDIA. If we can maybe see even a retest of 134 and sort of see that hold and maybe a push off that. So I'm definitely just going to sort of monitor this level today on NVIDIA. I think you should do the same. That's definitely interesting there. All right. Let's go to AMD while we're at it and just see so you can see AMD very similar. The only problem with AMD is that we are still stuck below this very nasty supply at 63, right? Very nasty supply at 63, right? You can see right here, support, and then look at those rejections. So that's a little bit concerning, right? That's a little bit concerning. Just because you're still below that supply, it maybe there's something here, but it just doesn't look as clean to me, right? So if AMD can get over 63, if it can try to hold up here, then maybe there's something. If we can get a nice hold above 63. But until AMD is over 63, I am very cautious to play. I'll play longs maybe at these lows, but I'm not going to play a long as we start to approach the supply, right? This is not the area to start looking for long entries. If I want to get long here, I need to see a break of 63. I need to see it hold this level, sort of like what NVIDIA is doing right now, and then I'll look for that push back up to 69, 68. So right now, I would say AMD is a little bit too close to that supply for comfort to trade long, unless it gets through it, of course. NVIDIA sort of is above it, right, and holding above it. I like that much more than trying to trade through the supply. All right. Tesla. So this is Tesla over the last 2 weeks. Let's just point that out real quick. All right. That's the first thing I want to point out is here's your Tesla price action since October 7th. So this is just about a month right here, guys, right? This is about a month of price action, and that is what Tesla has been doing. So if I haven't traded Tesla too much. I've definitely traded it here and there this month or last month. I wasn't too hot on it, and I didn't really continue to really get aggressive on it just because this is what you saw, right? And this is just not it, right? This is just not it, especially for options trading, right? For options trading, you need some movement, and that's just not it on Tesla. So we'll get back to that once after this data comes out, guys. We'll get back to Tesla. But let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go to the ES. Let's see what happens here. So here is your, let's go 5-minute chart. Here's your ES, right? There's your rejection point. Let's see how this sort of comes out today. Pull up the bots to get this data live. Put it right there. All right. Little pop to the upside so far. And back to the downside. And big to the downside. Okay. Very nice rejection as of now. We'll see how that sort of plays out. Waiting for Walter. Okay. Non-farm payrolls, 261 versus 205. Jeez, man. It's still really hot versus consensus. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big gap there. 261 versus 205. So non-farm payrolls still high. That's not good, right? That's not what the market wants to see. And that's why you're getting this initial reaction here. Now, of course, we'll see how that flips, if it does flip. But that is, if you just read the data would ensue that, the downside would come. It's not what the market wants to see. Unemployment rate, 3.7. Estimated was 3.6. Previous was 3.5. So unemployment rate is higher. That's interesting. Average hourly earnings, 0.4 versus an estimate 0.3. Year over year, about flat with expectations. 4.7 versus 4.7. All right. So that's that. So we still got, every single job-related data point that came out this week was hot, right? Keep that in mind. Every single job-related data point that came out this week was higher than expected, right? ADP employment, non-farm payrolls, job openings, right? All higher. So that is definitely putting some strength, or putting some weight on the market here. So there you go. All right. So let's see what happens. But as of right now, you guys can see rejection again, very clean, very, very clean, right off that 37.50. We'll see how that works. Let me know if you guys see this sort of flip. It actually looks like it's starting to flip right now, to be quite honest. Coming right back up. We might be flipping here. Is this why we're flipping here? Private payrolls 233 versus the previous was 319. So that came down. Private payrolls came down versus the previous. It was still higher than expected. So it was higher than the 200 expected, but it was about, almost 100,000 less than previous. Change in manufacturing payrolls, 32,000. That was higher than previous and higher than estimated. Average weekly hours, 34 and a half. Pretty much the same as expected. Yeah. All right. Still seems like the news is that jobs are just too hot. The job market is still too hot for the Fed to be getting soft with their policy changes. Right? That seems to be the overarching opinion as of now. All right, let's continue. Let's go back to Tesla. So Tesla, chop fest. This is why it's been difficult to trade lately. We'll see if Tesla can find any type of movement outside of this. But as of right now, you have a top around this 230. You have a low around this 203. And to me, right now, today, you are literally right in the middle of it. So I didn't even care to post. I'm probably not even going to post this chart or even look at this chart today. To be honest, guys, I have no interest in Tesla today. It's just 230 to 206. You're in the middle of a chop range. This is where Tesla will steal your money, right? This is when Tesla steals your money. Tesla took some money from me yesterday, and I don't know if I want to let it do the same to me today. So, yeah. Pretty much just a chop fest. Even yesterday, right? You had a little bit of outperformance. This was totally against the market. Came right back down, then just chopped the rest of the day. This morning, no direction. A little bit of a gap up. Maybe it fills the gap. But when I zoom out here, I look at the 4-hour chart, right? You can see just right in the middle of that chop range. Don't love that. Just be careful, guys, on that one. All right, Apple. Apple is holding this little gap fill level around this 138. So I'm going to zoom out here, and I'm going to show you sort of this bottom. You can sort of say this is a little bit of a consolidation bottom here on Apple over the last, this is over the last about month and a half. Right around this 137, 138 area, all within here. I would say you found previous support in this zone. So I would watch this area here on Apple. You can see you found support here on Apple. You found some support all in here on Apple. You found a nice wick hold here around 136, 137 on earnings on Apple and pushed higher. And then you were right back at it today, right around that 136, 137 area on Apple as well. So it looks like you're getting a little bit of hold there on Apple. Watch out for this level. If this level breaks, you guys can see on this 4-hour chart. If this level breaks, right, that's a pretty big break for Apple. Under this level, right, there's not much, there's no price action in the recent trend. The next thing you hit is really down at this 133 and then down at this 130 area. So definitely a big level on Apple here. If I zoom in, you can see once again, potentially that there's a potential we try to hold here. Support here, support here, support here, and support here. So watch out for that hold on Apple around 136, 137. Maybe there's some upside off that level today. You can see we are getting a little push here this morning off this level that we just pointed out. So look to see what happens on Apple. Obviously, it's going to follow the market. And yeah, if the NASDAQ is popping, if we're getting a little bit of upside on the NASDAQ, which is not really much as of right now, then watch out for Apple to continue with that off this little 4-hour potentially this 4-hour channel or this demand hold down here at 136, 137. So watch out for that on Apple today. That's something I'll be watching. Netflix. So Netflix in the short term, if I go to the 5-minute chart, look at this level that Netflix has formed. All right, you can clearly see it. 269. 269. Yes, it is. 69. 69. Haha. So look at that. All right, very clear. Over the last 2 trading days, it's basically just a flat bottom at 269. And probably, I would say, rejections up around 275, right? So right up in here. So, I mean, you can even call it it's anywhere between this 275 to 275.50, anywhere up in here where yesterday's rejections were. But right there, guys, right, you can see that flat bottom that has formed, and you can see the reaction again off of it today. So this makes me interested to both directions, right? I'm definitely interested in both sides. If you break this, right, if you break this and you turn this into a rejection, there could be some nice downside here. All right, so I'm going to look for a 269 break, but right now it looks like it's still holding support. If there is a break at any point in the near future, then I'll look for that slip. But if it continues to hold this 269, maybe there's something here. I am more on the side of this continuing week, to be honest. I really want to see Netflix down to at least 263 and potentially down to 250. I don't think this 269 level is going to be some type of long-term hold level, but maybe there's something short-term here. So you can see a little flat bottom there. If you break that, 263. If you come down below 263, that's 250. Is this the 200 SMA? I think it might be. Yeah, so little 200 SMA there on Netflix. That could be sort of supporting this as well here. 200 SMA on Netflix, right around that 267. That's like right in this general area. So watch for that, right? That might be what's holding it up. Next level is the 20 SMA right there at 263. And then under that, you're looking at 250 again. So for me, guys, I would just, if you're short-term trading, I would just look at the 269 level right here, this flat bottom that has been formed, and look to see if it fails that today. That's going to be interesting. All right, XLE looks hot again. XLE looks hot again here. And you guys can see it just held on to that 90 level. So XLE, it did slip below it temporarily, came back up, held it yesterday, and look at this push this morning. So this $90 level on XLE is still holding, and that is this previous high here, and it's a psych level in my opinion. $90 still holding on XLE. You guys can see it right here. It's a little bit choppy just because the nature of the price action, but You guys can see a nice move off to $90 and a push to the upside on XLE. Yeah, I mean, if energy's hot again today, watch out for some of these names. So let me zoom out here on CVX. CVX is through these highs and potentially continuing. XOM, still continuation, right, on this push. So you did get a little pullback, but not much, and it looks like we're getting another push. So energy still hot, guys. I just wanted to point that out today. Still continuation, it seems here. So if there's something short-term you're eyeing, then maybe there's a move there. Target. All right, I'm sort of liking this target retest. I'm going to keep an eye on this today, guys. This is going to be one of the trades I'm watching. You guys can see right here, we had a break and retest of target. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I remember it vividly. Someone asked me about target, right up in this general area. I remember this day. I think it was last week. So someone said, what about target? And I checked it, and it was straight up, right? We were looking at it. So look at the right side of your screen. We were looking at it like this on the right side of your screen. This is what we saw. And I said, right, and what we always say on this live stream is wait for the pullback. There will be a pullback. You just have to wait for it. You have to be the patient trader that waits for the pullback to come. When you look at a stock chart, guys, don't tell me from the past that you don't see stocks pull back. If you look at a stock chart from any time in the past, there's pullbacks, right? It happens. It's natural. So this is just, this is human psychology. This is the emotional side of trading. You look at the past on a stock and you see the pullbacks. But in the heat of the moment, when you're looking to take a trade, you do not have the patience to wait for the pullback, right? It's like it's human nature, and I feel it too, right? It's messed up, right? We are wired. The human is wired to lose in the stock market. It's the same way that we're wired to lose in a casino. It's the same way everything that our emotions that we're connected to with money, with risk, with opportunity, all of those things that go on in our heads, emotions, are wired to make us lose money. But the pullbacks will happen, and it's a matter of who waits for it, who's the patient one. And this is where I'm more interested, right? So all of the people that went long here, right, chasing the push, are now red, right? Now, I'm not saying, maybe they got out, but let's just say theoretically, everyone that went long here is now red. They held onto their positions, their bag holding the downside. Now, you get the people that were patient, right? You get the people that were patient. Now they're going to start looking for it. So maybe these people are starting to stop out here, stopped out, took a big loser, $10,000 loss, $5,000 loss, right? And then you get the people that are starting to swoop in potentially on this pullback that are going to look for that move right back to where we were. So then all these people that just got out, that got stopped out, next week they open their target chart and they're like, God damn it, right? They're like, fuck. That's exactly what they're saying. I got out, right? I chased the upside. We're pushing back to the upside. We did a retest. Now we're back at 172, and I got out for a $10,000 loss, right? That's trading, right? So that's pretty much like if that example, that's just a great example of like what happens all of the time. So look for this hold. I'm not saying it's going to hold. I'm not for sure, but at least you didn't chase it, right? At least if you get in here on the retest, at least you have a good stop. You have a good risk to reward, right? If you get stopped out under the 157, so be it. It's a small loser. You weren't correct. But at least you're getting a good risk to reward here versus, chasing the upside. Just remember these things, guys, right? It's not just for target. It's for everything. So looking to see what happens at target here around 157, 158. I think it's an interesting retest level. All right, let's just flip through some really weak names. Microsoft, guys, I don't know what's going on with this stock. It's dying, right? Just keep an eye on that one. Amazon is dying as well. That thing's been terribly, terribly weak. Keep an eye out for this Amazon 88 level here. If you guys see this, let me go to the hourly chart. This is going to get interesting on Amazon. This 87.60 level, 87.59. Watch out for that here. this extreme low. You break that today, you're coming down to 80 in my opinion. So Amazon, Microsoft, Google, these stocks have just been getting melted. And I'm not sure. I think I need to get a little bit more educated as to what happened here. Because I'm really not sure why these are the names that are getting messed up. Because you got stocks like Apple, which are down, but not like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. You got stocks like NVIDIA, the chip stocks that are real hot. They're staying hot, right? They're still very strong. Look at NVIDIA off 134. Holy crap. Yeah, sick move off NVIDIA 134 today. So you're getting some interesting stuff going on. You're getting a lot of sort of, you're seeing some stocks outperform very aggressively. You're seeing the money sort of flow out of some individual high big tech names. It's pretty weird to see, right? Microsoft, Amazon, and Google the last 3 days have just been getting melted, right? Irregardless of what the market is doing, they just, look at this. Look at these moves. Look at Amazon the last 3 days. I mean, it is down 13% in 3 days. So that's Google. I'm sorry. All right. Coin's a disaster, guys. Please stop looking at Coin. Coin just took all of your money. Everyone that traded it on earnings, they lost everything. It's a total IV crush. This is why you don't trade earnings. All right. So let's go to the tickers that you guys want to look at. Let's pull that up right quick. All right. What do we got? AMD. Sure. You got it. Oh, BNTX and AMD. That's it. We got to get out of here. It's Friday. BNTX and AMD. BNTX. What do we got here? Push recently. You got earnings coming up through this rejection point. You got a big channel that sort of happened back here. This was sort of look at that wedge. Yeah, it's a nice little wedge you got here. See this wedge that sort of formed here? Oh, did I miss Apple? No, I didn't. I went over Apple. So yeah, nice little wedge that formed here on BNTX back here. You got this sort of rejection point here. You're through it. So I would look to see whether it can hold that level, and then this is going to be interesting. This whole area. I don't know. BNTX back into this wedge area. How does it perform back here? It's going to be probably pretty messy up here. You got a lot of previous, price action in this 160 to 166 area. So just be careful as it gets through there. But nice breakout. I would not chase this. Wait for the pullback, right? 150. All right, we sort of already went over AMD, but I'll do it again if you missed it. Watch out for the 63 rejection. That's what I would watch. 63 rejection on AMD. Watch out for that supply. If it gets above it, if it holds it as support, then maybe look for the long, but it needs to hold above 63. That's the most important thing. All right, guys, I'll do a quick recap on the futures, and then we'll jump out of here. If you guys could press that like button for me, that would be fantastic. Very much appreciated. Here's what to watch today on the ES. This is the same thing as the SPY. If you're asking for the SPY, pay attention to this. It's the same exact chart. Previous rejections at 37.56, 37.60 on ES from yesterday's highs. If you're thinking about the SPY, just focus on the levels I'm looking at in regards to time. So yesterday's highs, right? That should be your point to go look at the SPY. Where was yesterday's highs on SPY? Yesterday's highs on the ES, it's starting to reject here today. Watch yesterday's highs. Look to see if we can get through it. If we can't get through yesterday's highs, then I would look for the downside move. If we can get through yesterday's highs, look for the push into 37.80. If 37.80 rejects, then that might be another downside play as well. That is the rejection point from Thursday morning. NASDAQ, same exact thing. Yesterday's highs, you're not even close to them on the NASDAQ. Underperformance on the tech sector here very clearly. So you first got to get through yesterday's highs before anything else on the NASDAQ, and you're not even close to that. So that's the first level. Next level is here at 10.9. That's the pre-market or the after-hours lows, that previous support that you could reject here at 10.9. And then if you get through that, 11,000. If you break the lows of yesterday, then I would look for the downside. This could very well B, a complete chop sideways move today on Friday to end the week. If you see this, go outside, go enjoy the whatever else you like to do on a Friday. If you see this, I promise you will look back next week and say, yep, I'm very happy I did not get involved in that. And you will not feel an ounce of FOMO when you look at a price, when you look at a chart that stayed sideways in between the channel. Look for the breaks. If the breaks happen and the price action comes in, trade it. If you don't see these breaks and they're just sort of, if the price action seems slow, go outside, enjoy the rest of your day. It's Friday. It's the weekend. There's more to life than trading. Trust me. Trust me. There's more to life than trading. All right, guys. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. What's the sun? I'm gonna go try that out today. Let's see what the sun's like today. See what everyone's talking about. I hope you enjoyed the live streams. I hope you guys enjoy the content I provide. I do it to hopefully help people. And if you are getting helped, if it's something that's benefiting you, then that's all that matters to me. So thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Thanks for being on the live streams. Make sure to come hang out next week, starting Monday, every single day, 8 a.m. every single day. If you're new here, press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next week. Yeah. Peace out.